Hello, Internet. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk to you guys about resume. I want to tell you guys about some common mistakes people are making in their resume and also some tips that can improve your resume immediately. Let's dive straight into it. And all of the things I want to talk about, they include some details. Aim for perfect, that's what I want to say. Resume is the key for your interview. So you want to make the key perfect to get you as many interview as you can. This is the first step. All right, that's that. Let's go right in. And this is the first one and most important one. Your resume should have one page. Only one page. Don't make two-page resume. It's ugly, it's hard to read, and it confuses people. If you think it's hard to make a one-page resume, you can shrink your font size, you can delete irrelevant content, you can reduce the page margin, you can reduce the spacing between two lines, and you can have a one-page resume. Bear in mind, there are some exceptions. I have seen a postdoc that has 20 plus paper published, and he had a two-page resume. That is fine because 20 papers is really hard to list in one page, and he had two pages, that's fine. But normally, for most of us, when we just graduate, don't make two pages. Some people say the golden rule is 10 years, one page. So you don't have 10 years of work experience, don't make two-page resume. Second point, layout should go with human natural reading. What does that mean? That means you want to make your resume as readable as possible. Don't make two columns. Don't make two columns, which will confuse a lot of people. Don't try some very fancy design, like from abstract artist, which is definitely fancy, but it's not fit in your interview. Your resume is not read line by line. The hiring company is just visually scanning and search for keyword. If you make that process as smooth as possible, you have a better chance of getting an interview. So your focus should be as clear as possible. Third point, make bullet points. Bullet points is really useful. It tells you exactly what is important. As I said in the last point, companies are looking for keywords. And the bullet points are a great way to tell them what is important. Fourth point, education should not be the most important thing on your resume. I say this is only for software engineer. For some other professions, education can be very important. Like medical students, like law students, like finance students, education can be very important. But for us, for software engineer, we value practical experience more than your education. If you have cool projects, it's more important than you go to some fancy school. So education definitely should be on your resume, but not the most important point. But there are also two kinds of situations. The first situation is if you're looking for a full-time job, yes, your work experience and your projects should be your focus point. Your education should be down there. It should be there, but it should not be that important. But if you are looking for an internship, which you don't have a lot of work experience, you don't have a lot of projects to present, then education can be your most important thing. You should adjust which one is the most important based on your own situation. It's not definite. Fifth point is the recommended order of sections you should have on your resume. First one, work experience. Second one, projects. Third, education. Fourth, technical skills. Fifth, honors, awards, and affiliations. Bear in mind, that is a recommended order. You should adjust your order based on your own situation as well. Say if you have an award that is Turing Awards, which is essentially impossible for a fresh graduate. But let's say if you do, you want to put that at the top because that's your most shining point. You want to show your interviewer, hey, I have this award that's really awesome. That's better than anyone else. 6. Don't lie about your projects. If you lie about your projects, the interviewer will always know they're that good. Say if you have a course project, Just say it's a course project. Make a basket and say course project. Don't lie about it. Don't introduce your project like it's an industrial project when it's not. Almost every interviewer will know that it's a course project. And if you're not honest with it, that's a huge download for you. So if it's a course project, say it's a course project. For a group project, say what is involved in this group project. But also say what's your role in it. What have you done in the project? Don't say you have done everything. Don't say I carry the whole team, which even if you do, that shows you have poor communication skill and organization skills. What you should say and what you should focus on is what have you done in this project and what have you learned. 7. Separate work experience with projects. Even if the project belongs to a work experience, don't just mention it in the work experience. Bring it out. Put it in a separate section called projects. So the interviewer will know clearly what have you done that's so significant and he can talk about it. 8. Do not write down what you don't know very well. For example, if you only had fun with Swift in Swift Playground for 1 hour, do not mention you know Swift. You might get lucky once or twice when they don't ask you anything about it, but you will eventually get caught and people will ask you, okay, so you say you know Swift, and how do you do this in there? Explain to me what is that, what is this? And if you don't know about it, then you're screwed. 9. Categorize proficiency level in skills. Proficiency level is very important in skill section. It tells the interviewer what you're most comfortable to talk about, what you can talk about, and what I know, but probably you shouldn't be talking about it. And my recommended categories are proficient, experienced, and familiar. You can get away with only experienced and familiar. With a proficient, you just add on one more layer of what you're really comfortable to talk about. 10. Bold keywords in skills and projects. It's the same logic. You want to highlight what you're most comfortable with. You want to tell the interviewer what's important. And it's also a very good way to provide a conversation starter. Sometimes the interviewer is scanning down your resume and trying to find something that he can talk with you about. If you highlight something in bold, it's helping him in that process. And you help him, he will help you in return. 11. Do not write Microsoft Office as your skill. Let's be honest. Microsoft Office is not a skill. It's common sense. Everybody know how to do it. If you write it down, one, you're showing you don't really have something good to write. Second, what is worse, you can get challenged. I know an interviewer who worked for Microsoft Word team before, so he is really know the front and back of Word. And he saw someone brought in his resume with a skill of Microsoft Word. Then he said, okay, so you know Word that much, huh? Let's say how you can do this. And of course, he tested something that normally nobody knows. And the students is really screwed on that point. 12 is really important. Have one project prepared to explain in detail. This one project you want to prepare for what have you done, what were the difficulties, and how did you overcome those difficulties, and what have you learned, and what could you have done better. The interviewers love to talk about your past experience. They want to learn in certain situations, how do you learn, how do you react, and what kind of person you are. So it's really important to prepare those questions beforehand in interview so you don't get stuck. 13. GPA normally is not too low to write down. Some people are ashamed of their GPA. Don't be. If your GPA is like 3.0 or even 2.7, 2.8, 2.9, it's fine. Just write it down. If you don't write it down, the interviewer, they will wonder, what's your GPA? Why you're not writing it down? What are you hiding? Are you a really bad student? So just write it down. Normally, the first thing the interviewer will see is your work experience, is your projects. They will normally ignore your GPA. So it's completely fine. Don't make more questions for the interviewer. Make less. 14, and we have the last point, is to list the highest level advanced coursework under your education section. This is actually optional, but it's good to have it on your resume. It shows what are your interests. The courses you selected represents what are your interests in computer science, in software, and what knowledge you have that might can help their company, that they are probably looking for. And also, one more point is, the interviewer probably graduated from your school, and he probably know the professor of one of the course. So it's a great topic for you guys to get closer. As you guys get closer, the interviewer will help you. Trust me. And here you go. That's all 14 points of how you can improve your resume. Thank you for watching. I hope you're having a great day. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.